Good luck to your son too. You know, like I if he has half as much passion as you do, I'm sure he will be big.
People, they have heroes. Some are big and tall. Some have superpowers that stops folks from doing wrong. But let me tell you about mine, 'cause I think that it's about time I put the way you feel into a song. My hero is the man that calls me his son. My hero is the man who reminds me it's still good to be done. My hero is human, and yeah, he's done good and bad, but most of all, my hero is my dad.
Welcome to Mosaic Minds, the podcast where every episode is a colorful blend of perspectives, ideas, and conversation. Each week, our diverse team of hosts brings their unique backgrounds, experiences, and interests to the table. Mosaic Minds is your invitation to join the conversation to see the world through a kaleidoscope of viewpoints. So grab a seat, tune in, and let the mosaic unfold before you.
All right, man, you ready?
Yeah, man.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mosaic Minds podcast. My name's Nick, and this is Jason. And tonight we have a guest who's been making waves both in and out of the ring, following in his father's legendary footsteps. Camden Smith, better known in the wrestling world as Ty Rose, is carving out his own legacy in professional wrestling. But that's not all he's doing. He's also a talented country musician who's already shared the stage with some of the industry's biggest legends. We'll explore his journey as a wrestler, his music career, and what it means to carry the name Rose into the ring. And we actually had his dad, Pat Rose, on the show a while back. And real quick, I thought I would just share a little clip of that.
Standing at an opposing height and weighing in at an all-inspiring 235 pounds. Pat Rose, let's go.
You know, my son's training to be a pro wrestler. We were getting ready. He went to the Cornbread Festival, music and all that, and we're standing there, and I'm doing this, and I'm saying, damn, son, look, your dad's freaking going away. Yeah. All right, man, can I take this thing off?
Yeah, okay. You can take it off. Did the trick, though.
I got to be good friends with Jackie Fargo. I got to be part of the new fabulous Fargos that I put together, man.
Heck yeah.
Because I love those guys. And sorry, let me mention something that we do and been doing it since day one. First, we open up with the national anthem. At the end, we close with this right here. Matthew 4:19, and he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Here's the catch to it. The greatest catch that you and I can make is when someone gets hooked on the love of Jesus Christ.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just want to share a little clip of that, dude. But yeah, your dad was a lot of fun. That was a great interview.
Yeah, man. Whenever he does all these interviews, I'm sitting in the usually sitting in the corner of the living room, kind of listening to him, man. But he really appreciates you guys taking the time to talk to him. And he's got a great story to tell, man. So it's really cool to see people, I guess give him a platform to share his story.
Real tender-hearted guy too. I like that. You know, that's someone that's real. You know, a lot of times you get people that want to try to be something that they're not. But yeah, there's no faking it with him. He's the real deal. So yeah, it was a really nice having him on.
I appreciate you guys saying that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Camden, we're going to start out. I want to talk a little bit about first your wrestling career, okay, and kind of how you got started. So, like, just give us an idea of. Obviously, you grew up in that arena. So, give us an idea of what made you want to continue in your father's footsteps and how you got started and kind of what his thoughts of it were as well.
Yeah. So like I said, I've always grown up around it. Always as a little boy, kind of running around backstage and all this stuff, and really cool. There's if you order Dad's book, From the Ring to the Real, the Pat Rose story. In the back, there's a picture of like a 10-year-old Kerry Morton and an 8-year-old Camden Smith locking up, and so man, just kind of growing up around it, and when I was a freshman, I'm 19 years old now, so when I was a freshman in high school, I fractured my back. And shortly thereafter, I thought I wanted to be a little, a wrestler, and we got in a ring and took some bumps, and I just couldn't do it, I guess. And so around this time last year, we went to the NWA JCP, which is the frontman for the Smashing Pumpkins, Billy Corgan. He owns the National Wrestling Alliance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And he was bringing back territories, and one of Dad's good buddies, one of our good buddies, Joe Kazana, runs. The Kazana name in professional wrestling is very monumental, especially in the East Tennessee area. So, Billy Corgan, I guess, was there to announce that NWA and Joe Kazana Promotions were the first territory that they're bringing back, and I was there, man, and I got to see all the NWA guys, and I was like, man, this is cool. I think I want to do it. So in last January, that's when I started training, to wrestle. So yeah,
very cool.
Talk to us a little bit about the origin story behind the name Ty Rose that you go by in the ring.
Yeah. So my real name is Camden Ty Smith, right? And I always joke and say a Smith doesn't wrestle, So I didn't want to go by the name Camden Smith because I want to keep music. I know we're doing this, but I want to keep music and professional wrestling very separate because I don't want, just want to keep them separate. I want to work hard at both and build them, by myself at both. You know what I mean? And so, but yeah, my middle name is Ty, and I figured Ty Rose. So
yeah,
that's a pretty boring story, but that's pretty much it. My middle name is spelled Tyee, so I just cut off the 2 E's and bam, man, there you go.
So I got to ask you, man, you're early in your legacy and you're building it, but are you would you prefer to be known as kind of a heel side? Are you the good side? Like what's kind of your reputation that you're trying to build and kind of see yourself in the first 6-12 months?
That's a good question. I always, when I used to play basketball, I went to a Christian school in my early years of life, I guess, and they teach you to be loving and all this. And I was a lot bigger than the kids my age, so I would, a few basketball people know what this means. I would set a screen for our point guard or whatever because I'm a big dude, and it would the kid would fall over because he's 90 pounds. I'm over here 100 whatever pounds I am at 12 years old, and the parents would and I for some reason loved it. I would smile at them and yeah, this is for you. You know what I mean? So I guess I've always been my dad's always like, man, you're a heel. So that is more comfortable. But obviously, man, with music, you don't want to go telling people to shut up on stage. So gotta learn how to do both. So.
Have you had many challenges kind of stepping out of, I don't want to say the shadow of your dad, but I'm sure you're trying to kind of develop your own image, right? So have you had very many challenges trying to separate yourself from the Pat Rose legacy, or do you kind of not want to separate yourself? Do you want to kind of keep it like that?
I'm only on my 4th match, so it's kind of a little premature to say. I'm still green as grass, man, and trying to figure this whole thing out. Just like with music, man, I learned the basics and how I became who I am today and how I got the resume that I have with music. I did it. I went out and I did it and perfected my craft. I'm in that stage with wrestling, man, just getting as much ring time as I can. But yeah, man, to answer your question, I don't know. It's kind of, like I said, a little premature to answer that kind of question, but I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. There's a lot of similarities between the wrestling and music business, but there's also a lot of differences, and so I'm trying to, I joke with somebody, I've been playing music since I was 14. I hate to go back to music all the time, but it's what I do.
How involved is your dad in your wrestling career? Like, is he your manager?
Super involved. Yeah, he helped train me along with a guy named Casey Cage and a few others. But so super involved. But yeah, man, just I don't know yet. Like I said, I joked with somebody. I'm kind of at the. I've been playing music since I was 14, so now with this wrestling thing, I'm kind of still. I'm back at the bottom of the totem pole. We got to work our way up, pay dues, and the whole nine. So,
Right.
but man, that's what it's all about. It's the journey, and but yeah, I don't really know yet. So.
I think as you work on your craft, give the audience that's maybe never wrestled at all. You're in the arena that you're in. I know you're 4 matches in, but let's talk a little bit about the preparation. How long of a time frame was it until you felt comfortable enough to say, "Hey, man, I'm going to put on the boots, strap them up, and go out there and work"? Like how did that look for you as a progression standpoint?
Yeah, so I started training in January, and I obviously would go to shows and work out with guys beforehand, and really it was up to my dad, and yeah, that it was just up to my dad. I'm just gonna say that he was like, "Well, I think you're ready, and you got to learn." I mean, Dad, I'm not saying go train for 2 weeks and wrestle, but Dad literally trained for 2 weeks and was on TV, so. But he also had the amateur wrestling background and was very athletic as a young, straight out of high school. Basically the same age. He started wrestling at 19. I did too.
Okay, I didn't know
So,
that.
so yeah, man. That's pretty much how it went, man. Just kind of kept working out and kept learning until Dad was like, "All right, I think you're ready." And I say that obviously I was put in the ring with somebody who led me and took care of me and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I know that. Well, this wasn't one of the major points, but with your dad, it was wrestling and fishing. Do you do? Are you a big angler as well, like your dad, or do you,
Man, I don't know. There's the extent of my bass fishing goes. There's a pond across Trenton, and there's a sweet lady, and they stock their pond, and so all my buddies, would give me crap because I show up with, like professional rig stuff, at a little pond. But man, it's cool. I let obviously turn all my friends on to all that good stuff, but. Yeah, man, that's pretty much the extent of my fishing is a pond that's kind of been stocked. So,
Hey, so I
fish in. You know what I mean?
tip my cap to that craft and the long term goals and stuff. Let's transition a little bit into the music. You've been doing that right around the time I met you there in Knoxville, Tennessee, there at the East Tennessee Fishing Show. You were already kind of launching that music career. It's been nice to see you driving and putting in work and seeing these venues, man. It's like you kind of vicariously root for people. You know what I mean? And really put ourselves behind them. What's maybe a general radius that you kind of travel from your home base to some of these shows to give somebody an idea of what you're doing to kind of get your name out there right now?
Yeah, man. Anywhere that there's really no limitations, man. Anywhere that we can, and we've played pretty much all over the Southeast so far. We haven't had the opportunity to go, fly or travel super long distances somewhere. But yeah, pretty much that southeastern, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. I don't think we've hit Florida yet. I don't know, but
got to make your way over to
much.
Indiana?
I know, man. That would be so sick, man.
Yeah, that's cool. So how did you get started with the music? I know you said you've been playing since you were 14, but if I remember right, I think your dad said you started in church, like playing in church and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So so on my mother's side of the family, they're all preachers. And my dad's side, obviously, he's a wrestler, so you kind of get the mix of both. And here's what you get, I guess. But there's 4 drummers in my family. And that's kind of how I got started, man, playing drums in church. And then when I was a freshman in high school, I realized that you couldn't bring a drum kit to a party, so I learned how to play guitar. And then I started. I wasn't good. I didn't have the coordination to like shred. Yeah, just kind of being interested in all that. And man, like I said, I just learned the basics, and I just kept doing it until it sounded all right.
When did you play your first show outside of I guess your first secular show?
Yeah, so there was I was on the wrestling team my freshman year, and I wasn't no good at wrestling. But there were 2 wrestlers that had a birthday close to a time, and they rented out a little cabin in Rise which is a kind of a smaller community right outside Trenton where I live. And man, I didn't even have a bass player. It was just me, 2 guitars and drums and one little speaker, and yeah, we just kind of played through that, and they loved it, man. But that's pretty much my first show, I guess. You know what I mean? With the load in, sound check, the whole nine. So it was a good time. We made the best of it.
And your genre is country, right? Country
Yeah,
music?
country rock. I always joke. We always. I always say, we blast rap music on stage when we're walking up, and we all have long hair, wearing cowboy boots, playing rock.
There you go. Yeah.
Who's a musical influence for you, man? Who do you kind of like in your game too, your music game too?
Mm-hmm. My biggest musical influence, man, probably is Co Wetzel, and he's a guy out of Texas. If y'all haven't heard him, go listen to him. Great stuff. You'd probably be shocked, actually. I was too. And man, I remember I saw him. We saw him at Songbird, which was my uncle was the president of Songbird, so that was kind of my classroom. And they came and opened up for a band, and Co's manager and my dad got to be friends because he's a wrestling fan and stuff. And they got us tickets next time they come around. Each time they came around Chattanooga, the venues got a little bit bigger. But man, we were side stage, and I could see the crowd, but they played rap music coming on stage, and just the swagger and just the. Oh, man, I can't. I get chills talking about it, man. That moment right there changed my life, and that moment I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's
and that
great.
was to entertain people.
I love the people down. I know you're a little further south, but at the same time, the Southern hospitality is at its finest, man. The people were just so nice and accommodating. Hey, I'm going to throw you an opportunity here. You got your guitar there. I know we've talked about your dad. This show's about you, but we've mentioned him. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you have a tribute song about him. Is that correct?
I do. Yeah.
Would you mind?
Cool.
Would you mind being put on the spot? Maybe play a few bars of that particular song because I think it's a good tribute, and he'll get a big smile out of it as well. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah. So, can we play a little bit of it, the whole thing? What do we do?
You can do the
Whatever
whole thing,
you want,
man. It's your world.
Yeah.
It's your world.
I will, man. People, they have heroes. Some are big and tall. Some have superpowers that stops folks from doing wrong. But let me tell you about mine, 'cause I think that it's about time I put the way you feel into a song. My hero is the man that calls me his son. My hero is the man who reminds me it's still good to be done. My hero is human, and yeah, he's done good and bad, but most of all, my hero is my dad. Every time I search his name, his old matches they pull up. I can sit and watch for hours and watch my dad do what he loved. And sometimes things get hard, and him and I both lose sleep. But one thing that'll never change is I got him and he has me. My hero is the man that calls me his son. My hero is the man who reminds me it's still good to be done. My hero is human, and yeah, he's done good and bad. Most of all, my hero is my dad. Most of all, my hero is my dad.
So I guarantee, just from knowing your dad, that the first time you played that for him, that he had tears coming down his face. I have no doubt.
Yeah, man. I'm just like him, man. I feel like we're pretty tough, but we're really sentimental. So when something means a lot, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And man, it even now, even just a second ago, I don't know, man. You just get that feeling, and it's just like, man, I love my dad. And he's a great
I love
guy.
that, man. That's so awesome,
Yeah.
especially now. Now You don't see that a lot. I mean, not that kids don't love their father and their father doesn't love the kids, but you just don't see that kind of bond that much these days between a father and a son. It's not like it used to be. I love that. That is amazing.
I'm telling you, it's inspirational when you see that setup and you're driving and you're doing the Facebook Lives or whatever you do, and you guys are right together. And don't laugh at me, man, but it seems like you're doing all the driving, right? Because that's what younger guys do. Us older guys just want to sit there and watch you put in the miles. I'm not saying he doesn't drive, but I'm just throwing a little jab at him. But you know what I mean. Man. You got to do the driving, right?
He's made me. I don't know if I've earned it, but he's made me pay my dues, and he says I've earned it. So there. But man, there was one funny story. We were coming out, I think Montgomery, which it really isn't a bad drive, but I don't know what. I think I was going to school that day or whatever. But man, it was like 1 a.m. and we hit I-59. And that's a straight shot, pretty much. And man, we were so tired. And I'd pull over, and then he'd drive, and he'd get tired, and he'd pull over, and we would like switch every mile. Dude, that was so funny. He just had to be there. I don't know. But we were the other day. We were actually out. I connected my phone to the TV and screen shared. Man, we went through his Facebook and watched those old lives and just kind of reminisced. Oh, I remember that show. Oh, I remember stopping at the Lost Highway Memorial sign on the interstate. And man, I don't know, man. My dad's a great guy. And I'm very 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 lucky to be his son. I don't know. Jeez, getting choked up already.
I am too, man. But don't ever lose that, man. I'm 45 years old, and I'm going to tell you right now, my dad's 75, and I talk to my dad 3 or 4 times a week. And I got to be honest with you, a lot of it's just bragging about what I'm doing. And I hate to be like that, but it just keeps him kind of vibrant and in that moment.
He loves it,
as opposed to just not, man. Hey, so we're going to switch bases a little bit here. Mosaic Minds, as you well know, is kind of just a menagerie of everything, right? All walks of life and stuff. So you did a good job on the music part. We've talked a little wrestling. Let's switch back into a promo cut here. Let's go over a recent feud. I know you're 4 matches in, so bear with me. But I know I saw a guy with a mark on his head maybe, and vice versa. I know you got lumped up a little bit. I know you've had at least a feud with someone that maybe attacked Dad, if I'm not mistaken, and you're making some retribution for that. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit, kind of off record, on record, if you will. Take it any direction you want.
There's 2 separate people.
Okay, go ahead.
The guy that had a cut on his head, he didn't attack nobody. He just made me mad. But
okay,
there was a guy.
Got to get the story right.
His name's Elijah Drago, and he come to America from Ukraine, and man, he's huge. Looks like Lex Luger, like prime Lex Luger. He looks just like, I mean, seriously. And we did my first real, I guess, angle. I did a deal, sang the anthem, he come out, and we were in Gadsden, Alabama, and I've played Gadsden a lot, so I was like, nobody tells me what I can and can't sing, and man, he hit me, freaking, got me right there, and all this, and attacked Dad too. He's trying to save me the whole night, man. It was a rough time, rough night in Gadsden. I've had a lot of those, but that probably tastes the cake for the roughest, man. But yeah.
Hey, so let's stay professional on this question here, because I know there's a lot of hard work. Talk to me about the bumps and bruises, though. I mean, regardless if a guy's really good and you mesh well with that person, and I'm asking because I don't know, but I've been an athlete my whole life. Are you ice bathing afterwards? Are you not wanting to get in the ring shortly after? Like, walk me through that maybe post-match over your next 24 to 48 hours.
Post-match, man, get in my sweatpants, drive home, go to sleep. No ice bath.
There you go. Love it. Love it.
Man, because there's so many guys, man, like that fight through the hurt, and I feel like, okay, well, everybody else's back hurts. You know what I mean? So it's like, and plus, man, I'm really lucky, dude. Like I haven't yet, at least knock on wood, but I haven't done the whole hurting thing yet. Obviously it's just like playing a football game on a Friday night. You're a little sore, but man, nothing crazy. But I have a lot of respect for guys that have been doing this for a long time that fight through that pain and still show up every day. Really, just giving their bodies to the people, man. So just really all the respect goes to those guys. But as far as me, man, I'm plus I don't want to be like, Dad, I'm hurting. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whatever.
Go ahead, Nick.
We actually had a guy on here a couple weeks ago, named I'll give a shout out to him, named Reggie Edwards, and he's here local in Indiana, but he does a lot of the, I don't know if this is the right terminology, but a lot of the script writing, right, for like how the plot's going to go, and that sort of thing. And he also does is it the Front Row Report? The pictures he does for,
concert. He'd be a great network for you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He'd be perfect.
He gets a press passes for like Dave Matthews Band, those type caliber people. He interviewed Alice Cooper. He'd be a great guy. And in return, I'd like to connect with your guy there, the musician and the wrestler, Corgan there, because there's some connection there. There's some cities that maybe the territory could grow. So I think the thing that I want to have you do is throw a shout out to the company that made your jacket for you, that black and white jacket that says your name. Like, that's unheard of, because when I was growing up, that was the only jacket you had. I mean, everybody had that of your favorite sports team. IU basketball is my deal. But how did you come across getting that, man? That had to be a good find or a good buy. You had to work a little bit for that.
Yeah, so funny enough, there's a picture, and Dad had. I don't have any of Dad's stuff, the ring-worn stuff, and there's a picture of him wearing the jacket, basically pretty much the same thing that I have, and I had him one made. So anybody can really get this made, man. I went to Amazon and I got 2 jackets, and 2 jackets that look, plain black, whatever. And there's a sweet lady here. I forgot her name. I'm horrible with names, but you know who you are. But she does Dad's hats, at the Fat Rose hats, and so she's done a few hats for us, Camden Smith music hats. And I was like, hey, is there any way, just based off this picture, that you could do a Pat Rose Honky Tonk Tour jacket and a Ty Rose Honky Tonk Tour jacket? And I've always thought tour jackets were super sick, man. Like all the old country guys, Hank Jr., Charlie Daniels, all those guys. And we actually have Tim Whittington out here in Trenton. He's a guy that collects antiques. He gave us 2 authentic Hank Jr. tour jackets, man. So I always loved Tim Whittington. But anyway, that kind of got my love for tour jackets, man. And if I ever get on tour, you best bet that all my guys are having tour jackets. But,
oh yeah.
I was like, if I give you these 2 jackets, like, do you think you could do this? And man, she's like, yeah, I'll have it done in a few days. And I went up to her house and got them, and I took them out of the thing. And man, it was just so cool, man, because it was almost like I was holding a piece of history, his stuff.
Old school memorabilia, new threads on it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But if anybody asks, it's ring worn.
Oh, there you go.
So let me ask you, Camden, when it comes to, since you're doing both, and I'm not going to ask you like which one's more important or which one is your priority, but since you're doing both, does your wrestling career ever influence your music, and vice versa? Does your music ever influence wrestling?
I feel like stylistically, yeah.
Yeah?
The important, like, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned through music that has been instilled in me that I apply to wrestling. I feel like one is your look. Obviously, I don't have abs, right? But my gear looks good. I have good quality gear. The jacket, I took the time to make my stuff look good, and same thing with music, man. Like, you always gotta be a star with music.
Right.
Don't act like one, you get what I'm saying, but look like one, man. Get your clothes from somewhere that, man, that's hard to find. I wonder where you got that shirt.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
not the shirt that you see hanging up at Target, right? It's like, man, I wonder where you got those boots. Those are like one of a kind looking boots, So I do a lot of deep digging for stage clothes, because I just man, it's all about what you see, So that's just one example, but there's a lot of things that apply to each, and I think it's like cutting promos isn't really an issue for me. I feel like I've always naturally excelled at that, and my vocabulary and being I guess well spoken, I don't know. I feel like I've excelled at that because, my dad's, at 3 years old threw me up on the radio and was like, talk to people,
Yeah.
And music, man, you get to learn how to talk to all kinds of different people in all kinds of different scenarios. So they kind of go hand in hand.
I think when you wrestle too, man, having that mic talent can separate you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I think some of the most famous wrestlers of all time were better on the mic than they were in the ring, but if you got them both, you're kind of throwing uppercuts. So let me throw you a left field one here, man. I put you in a time capsule for 6 months. You're not touching the guitar. You're not touching the ring. Okay? I'm not skilled at either one. Okay? But tell me what one would be easier after a 6-month layoff of not touching either one to feel like, hey, I still got this.
Music, for sure. Because I've been doing it longer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be as hard to, I guess, lose the touch.
Yep.
I mean, wrestling, I mean, but it would be like, you would feel it, you know?
Yeah.
But probably music. If I had to not do something and jump right back into it, I could do music. And I'm sure that answer will change later on down the road. But
maybe, yeah.
I might say both. Might say one or the other, whatever. But for right now, yeah, music for sure.
It's interesting that that both of those things, wrestling and then your music, that's that there's a lot of travel and like that kind of thing involved. So, you got any good stories, or what do you like most about being on the road?
That's a good question,
man. I love. I don't know, man. I just love traveling and just the feeling of, man, I'm on the road. We're road dogs. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I love it, man. And
I would like that
I always tell Dad, as far as music, I feel like I was, the first time I was at a bar, I was 11. You know what I mean? So, and that was a very controlled environment. Obviously, it was a learning experience. It wasn't nothing stupid. I was responsible, and so were my parents. I have a really good family that put a good head on my shoulders. Man, I don't know, just being on the road, dude. I just loved it, especially I'm sorry for mentioning my dad so much. Well, I'm not, but you know what I'm saying. I just enjoyed being on the road with him and just making miles and just going to places that you didn't really know and just I don't know, man. It's a different feeling, especially when you're there. Like, I'm here to play music. Yeah, we're musicians traveling in. You know what I mean? Like, that's cool. It's just fun. It's just a fun time. But stories, man, I don't know. I don't want to get nobody in trouble.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
I think I can add to that a little bit. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but you go into a new city you've never been in, and it's just that person that might offer you, hey, come over for dinner after the show, or, hey, man, I brought X for you. It's just, you're really a thread of that local community. And I'm telling you, man, the South, I mean, I've been to Gunnersville a couple times fishing. I've been to Tennessee the last 10 years. And it's just, those people are just genuine people. There's a cheesy song that talks about the iced tea or whatever, and then they kind of direct them back to the person. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I probably butched that scenario there, but what I'm saying is the people are just genuinely nice people, and they truly care and want to see you succeed. So talk a little bit about maybe your influences of Georgia, and then give us a geographic swatch, maybe a 60 to 90 mile radius of where you are, so we can kind of understand geographically where you're at.
So I saw the video Dad was talking about Lookout Mountain. Lookout Mountain is a very niche kind of thing, you know what I mean? You have to be into hiking to understand what that is. So we're pretty much 15 minutes south of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
So that's where we are. But man, my goal with music is to kind of let everybody know what it's like to be from Trenton, Georgia, and from Day County. I love it more than anything in the world. I love home. It's my home. I love it. I love everything about it. I love the people. Like everything else, there's a few bad apples. There's some situations that you don't like, but man, I love home. I love getting to wake up every day, and like you said, man, God's country, bro. I love it here, man. And when I'm away for a while, I get a little homesick, man. But I just love it. Love being here, and like the Forrester Sisters was a very well known country group. They're a bunch of sisters. And, guys like Pat Rose, and Norman Blake, who lives, in Rising Fawn, right outside Trenton, Georgia, and Day County, man, like, those are legends, you know what I mean? And, they may not be mainstream people, but they were at one time, and they're legends, straight up. And so, my goal is to kind of be on that list one day, but geographically, man, we're on the very top left-hand corner of Georgia.
There you go.
I went to school.
Cool.
I went to school in Alabama, played music in Tennessee, and laid my head down and out in Georgia. So
yeah, I lived right in the Illinois and Indiana border, and I'd jog a half mile, and I'd always tell my family that I jogged out of state that night. So that was kind of an ongoing joke there.
What are some of your other hobbies? So besides music and wrestling, what else do you like to do?
Man, unfortunately, 2023, of June of 2023, excuse me, we lost my mama. And my grandparents are my world, man. And now it's just my papa that's here left. And I was just at his house before I came home and got on here with you guys, man. But my hobbies really are just, I say that because it's unfortunate that it took the loss of somebody. I've never lost anybody, but it took losing her, to kind of shock my priorities back in line. And,
Yep.
man, I just love spending time with family. I love being home. I don't go out much, and when I do, I get tired. I'm like, man, I want to go home, whatever. This fast stuff ain't for me. But man, I just love spending time with family and just soaking all that good stuff up, man.
That's great.
It's so cool to see your progression, because take this as a compliment. I'm not a small guy, right? I was a basketball player. I can hold my own, but like I saw you when you were 14 or 15, and I was teasing your dad after you like got a concession or whatever, and I was like, man, he looks like he could pick me up and throw me through a table right now as a 14-year-old. You have an old spirit to you, man. You act like if I didn't know who you were, I would say that you're 10 years, 15 years older than what you are, and that's actually a compliment.
Yeah,
that's not looks.
Not
that's
because
not
of how
anything
you look.
else.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just the way you carry yourself, man. It's a breath of fresh air to hear a young man like yourself that has his priorities right. He has his career going. He's chasing 2 paths that he loves. He's doing a legacy for his dad. Man, like what family wouldn't be proud of that? And then the fact that you mentioned your grandparents, unsolicited, if you will, so that's important to you. Man, that's some deep stuff. But it's just, I tip my cap to you from the time I met you today, to back when I first met you. Man, it's just been so cool to see, and you're forging your own path, man. It's just like, I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of your family, but I'm super proud of you.
And I know your dad is too, for
absolutely.
sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, you could tell just from the interview that we did with him. You could tell how proud he was of you. He talked a lot about him, didn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's so cool about this is, as you see the journey and you see the Mosaic Minds, we're talking about people from all walks of life, right? Yeah. And what we've noticed is the connection is amazing, because a guy like you, I would hang out and consider a friend if I didn't know anyone. Like if I just ran into you, or let's just say I got a ticket to watch one of your shows, and let's be real with each other. Let's just say I was there to watch another performer. Man, that dude sounds like a cool dude. He's sitting here interacting with the crowd, because it's about getting there early. It's about seeing it set up. It's about being the performer. And then, quite frankly, sometimes it's about rushing out of there and driving 75 mile an hour to get home just to get a nap to go to practice the next morning. So I get it, man. You're hustling and you're working hard, and you're paying some dividends and you're making inroads.
Yeah. Let me ask you one last thing, and then we'll get some of how people can find you, your social media and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But because we talked so much about your dad, what would you say that the best advice that your dad ever gave you was? Because I'm sure there's something you can look back on and be like, man, he was so right. Maybe you didn't think so at the time, but what would you say the best advice that your dad ever gave you was?
Man, be yourself, be humble, and it's okay if I say a bad word.
Go ahead, fire.
But don't take no shit from nobody.
Yeah.
Yep.
3 things that he taught me.
Yep.
So
that's
right
great.
there, and I apply that to everyday life. I try to, Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes, whatever. But, man, I just look at every day. I try to, especially now, recently in life, try to look at life as, every day as a blessing, man. I didn't graduate high school. I got my GED, and that's because I chose music over education. And that's a thing that I've dealt with myself, whatever. I'm cool talking about it because, it's I didn't know this, but it's actually a really common thing, the GED thing. But, man, I got a job now, and I'm working, and, man, working, wrestling, and playing music, man, I just, I'm super grateful right now,
Yeah, you seem very happy. Both you and your dad seem very happy. Like I'm a little jealous because I mean there are days that every time I've seen your dad, and even the clips I've seen of you guys just always seem like you're full of joy, and that's a pretty big thing to covet,
Biggest thing is
you just
go ahead.
you can't put over the negativity, man, or it's gonna eat you alive. You just can't. You can't. All right, whatever. You know what I mean?
I liken it to throwing a new battery on a car in the winter, man.
Bigger fish to fry. bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, exactly. Good fishing.
On to the
reference
next,
there.
on the next one, yeah.
So talk to
There
us a
you go.
little bit about maybe anything that we haven't mentioned. How do I network with you? You know, tie in music and wrestling. Not telling you what to do, but I'm going to be quiet and let you kind of throw out what you want so I can track you.
On I don't have TikTok for my wrestling because I don't know what I post, you know. But on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, man, you can follow me, my music at Camden Smith Music. If there's any promoters out there that or anybody at all, if y'all want live music, it's Camden Smith Booking at gmail.com.
Okay.
And for wrestling, for professional wrestling, my Instagram and Facebook and my email is all Ty Rose Wrestling, Ty Rose, as in the flower, Rose Wrestling. And that's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and how you spell my name, Camden, is C-A-M-D, just like Camden, Georgia, Camden, Maine, I guess that's in Maine, I don't know. But, yeah, man, so that's pretty much, those are my two main deals, man.
Now, if somebody wants to buy some of your music, are you on iTunes or anything like that?
I'm on iTunes. We got iTunes. Pretty much anything with a search bar, you can look up Camden Smith Music and all my music, man. So
Awesome.
yeah,
We'll throw the links on there, and for those of you that don't know, man, highly recommend. Great family, great balance, great structure. New up and coming artists, up and coming wrestling star. You know, just network with us. You know, we appreciate the audience that's listening to us today, and you knocked it out of the park, man. I'm going to have to give you a 1, 2, 3 tap out.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on, Camden. You know, and what would be really cool in the future too is to have an episode with both you and Pat on there. I think that would be fun.
Man.
Yeah,
Just
get
let
you
us
feuding
know,
a little
we'll do
bit,
it.
getting you fired up about an upcoming concert or deal. That would be. Well, let's do that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, man.
It'd be fun. Hey, I really hope to visit you and watch a match or watch a concert. I say that with full meaning because, you know, if we could find that middle of the road venue, so maybe your Tennessee venues, that's only 3.5, 4 hours for us. That's doable.
Okay, cool.
Not out of the question. So just keep us in mind for that. Okay.
I will, man. I appreciate you guys a lot.
Yeah,
for real.
appreciate you.